team's been struggling. Did you find yourself regretting the situation more and more when?
Can you rephrase that question in a better way for me, please?
In a better way?
Yes.
Well, did you?
Are you asking me if I was regretting what happened because my team struggled?
Well, when you're not out there, you can't help.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to be with my team. I couldn't. As a player who plays baseball, I couldn't play baseball. I would have liked to be out there with my team.
Did you regret it all? What you did after getting?
That's the same question there again. What happened, happened. I'm ready to move on. I'm just happy to be out there and play baseball.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Marty Time TV. I am Marty Caswell. It is the year 2025, even though I am playing a Padres clip from the Blue Padres featuring Carlos Quentin. I've been looking for some fresh, new, fun opens, and that one has been on my mind. I'm delighted to be joined by our friend AJ Cassavell. We are brought to you by the all-new Amul Casino Resort, the Players Place. AJ, let me go ahead and start with that clip. Were you covering the Padres during that time?
I was not. I may have been in and out backing up Corey Brock, but
okay.
I think I covered Carlos Quentin only as a backup. Never on the Padres beat. I did cover several years of the Blue Padres, but that would have been like 2012, 2013.
Yeah, that's something
right,
like that.
It was right around when I got out here. I was doing other stuff for MLB.com and like backing up Corey whenever they would let me.
Got it. So I know what happened with the Padres and Dodgers last week. It's so far behind us. That series feels like it was a lifetime ago. So much has happened since then, but that was one of my favorite moments. The Carlos Quentin, Zach Greinke, Matt Kemp altercation. I'm sorry.
I was at that game.
Oh, you were? Oh my goodness.
Yes, I was. I was not. I don't think I was there in a working capacity. I think I was just there hanging out because that's what you do when you're 24 in San Diego.
I'm probably drinking a nice cold beer. We'll get to that a little bit later on. All right, AJ. We had this conversation last week, right? When we were actually talking with the Dodgers about like, look out for next week when the Nationals are in town. And we're going to be revisiting, no doubt, the Juan Soto trade, which was wildly popular at that time. But of course, the Padres sent some of their best prospects, James Wood, Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abrams. And lo and behold, man, they came back with a vengeance last night. Let's go ahead and start. You and I talked about this yesterday, right? A little bit in the press box, right? James Wood, of course, 3-hit game, home run, 4 RBI. CJ Abrams also 3 hits. The right move at the time. Easy to have buyer's remorse right now, but at that is right now, here, June 24th, without question, the right move.
Yeah, the Padres didn't lose the Juan Soto trade. This is not. First of all, I think it's dumb to frame trades in wins and losses unless it's like an obvious one, like the Padres lost the Trey Turner trade. The Padres won the Fernando Tatis Jr. trade.
Yes.
Like those are trades you win or you lose. The Juan Soto trade, the Padres went for it in 2022 to 24, knowing exactly what Juan Soto was and knowing exactly what they were giving up. And so they didn't lose the Juan Soto trade. They lost the NLCS in 2022. They didn't make the playoffs in 2023, and they lost the NLDS in 2024. Like that's where the regret is. Like Juan Soto was very good for the Padres the 2 seasons he was here. He netted them. I'll say Michael King and Dylan Cease, even though I know it's not exactly like that simple. Michael King, Dylan Cease, who were integral parts of last year's team, which was a playoff team. Like all 3 of those teams, I would argue, had a World Series caliber ceiling. Like if things broke right, and when you have a team that has a World Series caliber ceiling, like you do what you can to maximize it, and you do what you can to get a guy like Juan Soto, and they did exactly that. And they, for other reasons that many of them are completely unrelated to Juan Soto, like they didn't break through. But you take the risk when you have the chance. And this is not like James Wood is awesome, and Mackenzie Gore and CJ Abrams are really good. Like this is not a misevaluation of who those players were. This is the Padres taking the risk, knowing who those players were, knowing that they had a chance to do something special in one of those seasons. And then a lot of things happen. And like, I don't want to rehash every reason the Padres didn't win in any of those 3 seasons, but like 2022, they beat the Dodgers in the NLDS, which I don't know if they do without Juan Soto. And that moment exists. And then you get to the 2022 NLCS and they lose that series for any number of reasons. Like, let's not forget Fernando Tatis Jr. wasn't there. They traded for Juan Soto with the intention of him being on this super team with Tatis there. Bob Melvin pulls some weird managerial pitching strings. Josh Hader was available, or was he not? Like, there's reasons they lost that Philly series that have nothing to do with Juan Soto. If they win that series, who knows? Are we and obviously, if the Padres win a World Series at some point in his tenure, no one looks back on it as a bad trade. It's just a gamble, and it's a gamble the Padres knew they were making. I think, like, in the context of like the NBA Finals that just happened, this isn't the Clippers not understanding what they had with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and trading him. Like, this is the Padres knowing exactly what they have with these prospects and saying it's worth it if we can win one. If we can win now. Now, I think the question now is, like, do they have that World Series caliber that ceiling this season?
Yeah,
I don't think so right now. Like, they need to make some moves and make some things happen. But from 2022 to 2024, the years they traded Juan Soto for, absolutely those teams had that ceiling to win and just didn't win for any number of reasons. So I guess that's my take on. I mean, I've seen a lot of kind of vitriol about the Padres having traded for Juan Soto, and it's just not the way I view trades. It's not the way I look at things like that.
I think, let's see, Javier has a very, very good comment. He says, fans need to calm down a bit. This is all recency bias, which it is, right? Because the James Wood, CJ Abrams performance was last night. And of course, they're going to see Mackenzie Gore tomorrow. We had the biggest star for 2 seasons and everyone was excited. Let's move on. That's actually a good point. All my years living in San Diego, being a Padres fan, then now covering the Padres for the past 21 years, I don't know anything that lit this city on fire and this fan base on fire and elevated expectations like getting Juan Soto. As you pointed out, that team, they had a chance, man. That was a great team. They didn't win it for whatever reason, but to me, it kind of changed the culture and the expectation of this Padres team. But getting Juan Soto and trading your prospects, right, was about winning. It was about a World Series window that they had absolutely that year, and they hope to have for at least 1 or 2 more years. The thing that I don't know, I mean, we'll never know this. I mean, I know what Scott Boras has said. I know what Peter Seidler had said at the time. We're not afraid to go ahead and spend money. You know, I just wonder if things would have been different if they, at that time, if they got Juan Soto with the idea that they were going to go ahead and extend him. I mean, I know a lot changed, and the dynamics in the clubhouse were very, very interesting. But I still believe that they made that deal with the thinking that they were going to go ahead and sign him long term.
Yeah, and we'll never know the answer to that. And that's like obviously kind of the tragic part in all of this is that they made the trade when Peter Seidler was the owner and like had intentions of doing things a certain way. And like I said, there's any number of reasons that the trade, I don't want to say didn't work out because it Juan Soto was exactly who the Padres thought he would be, and then they got in return for him exactly what they could have gotten. Like, they got a pretty solid return, which is still paying some dividends right now. Like, if the Padres are going to contend this year, they're going to need Michael King and Dylan Cease to be a big part of it. Now, would you rather have James Wood, who has 22 home runs? Absolutely. Like, if you could go back and redo this trade, like, knowing what you know now, you redo it. But that's only because you know how the 2023 season went, and you know some of the variables that happened in 2022 and 2024. Had the Padres won the World Series last year with Michael King and Dylan Cease pitching game 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't. And they were a Joe Musgrove elbow injury away, I think, from maybe doing that. And so, like, not to rehash too much of like Padre fans' pain, but like these are the margins. And I don't know. I guess I'll equate it to this, and I'm going to bring another basketball reference into this conversation. But like, so I'm not I cover the Padres. I'm not a Padres fan. I look at the Padres objectively and try and deliver information to fans objectively so that they can take it, so they can kind of take it in. And I think like seeing James Wood and CJ Abrams and Mackenzie Gore this week is a little more visceral if you're like a fan who is wanting success for the Padres. For me, I am a Brooklyn Nets fan, and like the Nets traded for James Harden in 2021, and people want to say the Nets lost that trade because James Harden went elsewhere and that collapsed and that fell apart, and now the Rockets are really good as a result of the James Harden trade. The Nets didn't lose that trade. The Nets could have very easily, they should have. They made that trade knowing that giving themselves like a 75% chance at winning a title. And then Kevin Durant's foot was on the line. James Harden and Kyrie Irving got hurt in the playoffs. And then everything went to crap the following season. Like, you make trades to give yourself better probabilities of winning, and sometimes things just don't go right. And I will defend the Juan Soto trade, even though you're paying the price for it now, which was always what was going to happen. And so, and then look at the Nationals. Like, they're not where they want to be. They have those guys who are very good, but nothing's guaranteed. So it hurts the 2025 Padres. The Juan Soto trade hurts the 2025 Padres. It helped the 2022, 2023, 2024 Padres in big ways that could have gotten them over the hump and just didn't.
That's the beginning of their core, and I almost feel like it's magnified because of the conversation that we've had since spring training, which was finding a left fielder. They've tried a bunch of options, none of them have worked. The Connor Joe, the Jason Hayward experiment, which you mentioned was going to be a bridge until they find their next left fielder, magnified by a lack of a left fielder. There's look, there's one right there with the Nationals, and that Michael King, who was a big part of the next flip for Juan Soto. We don't know what's happening with him. So the Nationals window is ahead of them. They haven't even gotten to that part. What's the Padres window right now as it currently stands with the group that they do have?
Well, my question is like that. Depending on how you define windows, like I think they had a World Series window 2022 to 2024, and I don't know if it's still open. I'm looking at this team and thinking like they have some superstar pieces. Yeah. Like, is that window still open? Like, could they're not? I think this team as currently constructed, I think the Padres understand this, has too many holes to just go and win it right now. But they have pieces where if they were to trade for a left fielder and maybe another pitcher and maybe a reliever, like all of a sudden, that's a team that I think could contend and could be in the mix in October and could beat the Dodgers in October if things go right. Like, so the window for a World Series, I don't want to like that 2022 to 2024 when you trade for Juan Soto with 2.5 years of control left, like you're kind of saying that's the window. They've set themselves up decently enough with the trade return they got back from Juan Soto, where they've extended it, and the fact that they have kind of stars under control for a long time where they can put that window back into place. But until they make those moves, I don't know that it's as open as it was.
All right. I thought Fernando Tatis yesterday had had good perspective on the cost of getting a great player like Juan Soto. Here's just a little bit from Fernando Tatis yesterday. Trade with the Nationals a couple of years ago for a guy named Juan Soto. Are you at all surprised to see how quickly James Wood has developed into the player that he is?
No. I saw him, I think I was in rehab, and we were in there together, and I saw what he was capable of, and I'm definitely not surprised what he's doing, and I'm just really happy how he's playing baseball right now.
You guys were elated when you got Soto in that moment, but at that time when you saw who the players get up, did you think, look out, these guys could be very special very soon? You remember thinking that at all?
I mean, just the trade itself speaks for itself. You know, they're not gonna trade Juan Soto for any guy in particular, but you know, they were smart about it, and then they got some really good players, and you know, shout out to AJ for signing them, but also trading them. But it's part of the business.
Okay, that was a great comment. Shout out to AJ Preller for getting all these guys, right? Finding these blue chip prospects, but also for trading them.
It's so true though. Like the 2021 draft, I went back and like looked through it, and if you're redrafting 2021, I think Jackson Wood or Jackson Merrill and James Wood go 1 and 2. Wow. I don't know what order. I think maybe Wood 1, Merrill 2. But like the Padres with the 27th and 62nd picks in the draft got the 2 best players in the draft. That's some pretty good evaluation. And like you can be upset that they traded James Wood, but if you're getting even one of those guys out of those 2 picks, like that's a pretty solid draft return. So I think there is credit due to the Padres for being able to restock their draft. And like if you're looking at this through the lens of like, where's their window and are they like what is the value they still have for Juan Soto? Like I think the most likely option is Dylan Cease and Michael King walk at the end of the season, and the Padres don't have those guys in their rotation anymore. And if they do, all they get back from that is 2 compensatory picks, which will be right in that James Wood area. So here you go. Like Padres scouting department, which has been very good lately. Like That's the remnants of the Juan Soto trade 4 years later that you're going to have. And who knows? If they can find the next James Wood with those picks, I think it would ease the pain of playing the Nationals for the next half decade.
I hope so. By the way, I left one guy out.
Just signed a deal in Japan yesterday. He was really fun to cover.
You mean the Padres didn't kick the tire on Voit?
I was gonna say they could use a bat like that. Maybe not right now. That kind of bat would fit pretty well on this bench right now, I think.
Yes, he would. Okay, this is unusual for me, right? I love press conferences. I missed Mike Shildt pregame yesterday and postgame because I was too busy trying to run down James Wood since he was not available in the Nationals clubhouse in pregame. What did Mike Shildt have to say about Michael King threw yesterday in some capacity, right? I know he spoke for only the second time on Friday. But what did Michael King do? What's next for him?
He threw pretty lightly. I think it's still a matter of like throwing until he feels like doesn't feel that pinched nerve and can feel kind of free in throwing. It's a positive sign that he's throwing, but it's not a sign of any specific buildup to that he's on a throwing progression. That will be the beginning of Michael King is on his way back, is when there's a throwing progression in place in terms of how he can build up, and that doesn't exist yet. And
Yu Darvish is set to throw a sim game tomorrow. Is that right?
Tomorrow, yes. So that's I would imagine 2 innings for the last one, 3 innings, rehab start, return. Like if everything goes well, that's what I would expect. But we've talked about this, I think, pretty much every week. Like Darvish is basically running the rehab himself until making sure his elbow feels good, and he's playing it cautious, and I think that's fair. If he's back in the second half, let's just the Padres need Yu Darvish, and they need Michael King, and they don't necessarily need them on June 24th or whatever it is. They need those guys for the stretch run.
Mike Shildt has pretty much kept the 1 through 4 the same for most of the season, right? That Tatis, Arraez, Machado, and then Jackson Merrill. What do you like? Do you like the switch with Merrill at in second?
I think I do. I appreciate Mike Shildt changing it up because he's a
stickler.
He loves a set lineup, and I'm all about tweaking lineups and changing them and using matchups and finding lanes, and I don't know. I'm big on lineup talk. I will acknowledge that at the end of the day, it's not that important whether Jackson Merrill's hitting second or fourth, and whether Luis Arráez is hitting second or fourth. They're both good hitters that both do different things in the number 2 spot. The logic behind it, I think, is that they're both good hitters. Jackson Merrill is a better hitter. He does more damage, and so you get your better hitters up high. But at the same time, Luis Arráez is the guy that gets on base, and you want that on number 2 spot so that guys like Machado and Merrill can drive him in. And Jackson Merrill is not a guy that's going to walk very much. To me, it's a toss-up. It doesn't matter that much. There are other lineup concerns that I've had in the past. This one is fine either way. And I guess part of the logic is also Luis Arráez. He does a pretty good job with guys on base of just kind of flicking the bat and singling and getting guys in. Now he's going to have more RBI opportunities. So it's not his usual spot, but he'll get those opportunities. And I think the real question is when the Padres are facing, and not to go too nerdy into lineup talk, but the real question when the Padres are facing a right-handed pitcher is about 4, 5, 6, 7, because right now it's either Arraez or Merrill, both of them are left-handed. So let's say it's Arraez. So it's Arraez, Sheets, Bogarts, Cronenworth. That's left, right, left. And that's just such an easy lane for a lefty reliever to come in. And it's not easy because those guys are good hitters, but it's like if you're the opposing manager, that's exactly where you put those guys. So I don't know how the Padres break that up. The way you could do it is dropping Machado or Tatis to 4th, but I think that's dumb because those guys are really good. You want them hitting higher up.
You want more at bats with them too.
So to me, the answer is trading for a righty hitting left fielder who can bat 7th, and I think that'll happen at some point, but who knows when.
I almost left out the most important question I actually intended to start. This is your time. This is your moment, AJ Cassavell. Go ahead and take your victory lap on Trenton Brooks. You wanted to see more of him. and he
Well,
delivered almost immediately.
I guess I didn't set the bar very high. I just thought he was a better use of a roster spot than Luis Campusano if you weren't going to play Campusano.
Right.
And then he homered that night and then hit a double the other day. He's just like, if the Padres can have a lefty bat on their bench who can do some damage and poses some threat, that is better than the way they were using that roster spot with Luis Campusano. And frankly, like Brandon Lockridge, Bryce Johnson, the two of them, like they only needed one of them. So like I think having Trenton Brooks on the roster was smart. We'll see how good he ends up being and how it's a tough role because I think he's playing every single day in El Paso, and El Paso is you can hit the ball. El Paso, you can hit 330 as a big leaguer and not blink, but playing 3 times a week, 1 at bat a day in the stresses of the major leagues, like good luck in that role, Trenton Brooks. You haven't really done it before. I think he's the right guy to be in that role for now, though.
Will you be in this next road trip? Philly and Cincinnati, then Philly?
I'm going straight to Pennsylvania. My grandma turning 90 on. Wow. Well, she turned 90 recently, but we're getting a big family reunion in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. That's where she lives.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, and then Carlo and Emily are making the trip for Philly. So we'll be in Philly on Sunday night, and they'll go to one of the games. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's Philly for me is underrated ballpark. Always
it's a great ballpark. Great beer.
And
great atmosphere.
That series, if I'm looking at it, Manny Machado's 10 hits from 2000, and the Phillies are, I think, top of the NL East, or at least right there with the Mets. I think they're a game up right now. Like, that's an awesome series. That's a really fun late June series to kind of test the Padres and where they are. So I will be on that trip, and I'm looking forward to it. That's
awesome. I was looking at the schedule thinking if Manny Machado were going to do something, because he and Bryce Harper are forever linked, right? In the draft and their accomplishments and certain milestones. It'd be kind of cool if he gets number 2000 in Philly, Bryce Harper in attendance. So those guys are always linked. So I kind of like that storyline. So we'll see. AJ, last thing, because I mean, we talked about how tough the schedule was in June, how important it is. And you've been saying for a while, they need to get a bat now. And it's so magnified when you see just how the gap in the bottom of the order. I mean, how do you expect the Padres to act aggressively soon? Not what you can't wait until the deadline. They've got to act now. This offense it hasn't really found itself.
I agree with you, Marty, but they might not. And I think what that's doing is you're giving away like the obvious holes in this team. And I think we talked about this last week when they were playing the Dodgers, but with the obvious holes in this team, like you're not giving away the West, but you're giving yourself a significantly less shot at winning the West because you're going to lose some games now that are going to cost you.
Yeah.
You can still, if you wait till the deadline to make these moves, you can absolutely still get a wild card spot, make a run, have a team that you like, that you feel good about going into October. But if the Padres want to win the division and that's their stated goal, they've said it 100 times, like they need a bat. They probably need a pitcher too. So I don't know if it's going to happen soon, but I think the Padres should be feeling the urgency, at least in terms of the division.
I completely agree. All right, AJ Cassavell, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you. I'll see you at Petco Park later on. And I guess we'll talk next week hopefully we'll talk next week from Philly. I know it's a busy one with the family. So thanks again. All right, great. Thanks again for your time. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Barney.
All right, that was AJ Cassavell, MLB.com. You can follow him on Twitter at AJ Cassavell. Okay, guys, as we go into this, as we end this show today, I'm going to play you a little bit of James Wood. James Wood is 6'7". So when I'm in the Nationals clubhouse yesterday, I'm literally standing with my tripod, my arms straight up. This guy is massive and so soft-spoken. Here's a little bit of James Wood. Thanks again for watching. We're brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. You will find more of the Padres pre- and post-game later on today on Marty Time TV, and we'll check in with you guys on Thursday. But as we head into this break, here's a little bit of National star James Wood, who was good friends with Jackson Merrill. They follow each other's careers. Here he is talking about playing at Petco Park for the first time.
Clearly has something special going with the young players on this team. How much did you think about what you and Merrill and some of the other younger guys coming up with the Padres that you guys play together?
I mean, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it too much in a while. I mean, I've just been really happy to be with the group of guys we have here, and I mean, obviously I still keep up with the guys I know, and I still follow them over here, and obviously just wish the best for everybody.
James, what makes CJ such an exciting player to have on base for you when you're at the plate?
I mean, I don't think pitchers like having him on base because I think he's a base running threat, and I mean, whether that's stealing, going first to third, first to home, so I just think it's a little more stress put on the pitcher, which makes my job easier.
The guys over there, Fernando Tatis Jr., Arráez, they all said that they're really impressed by the way you've really handled this season, and Tatis mentioned that when he was in rehab, you guys played and everything. Just did you take anything from him, pick his brain at all when he was down there with you?
Honestly, not really. I mean, he's one of my favorite swings in the league, so I mean, I watch his swings a lot, and I pick up a lot of things from that. And I mean, yeah, he's a really good player, and he's one of my favorites to watch. So.
Kenzie says you're a real low front rate guy, but were you able to go ahead and just soak in and enjoy every bit of playing here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I mean, this is a really nice park, great fan base, and I mean, yeah, it was just the team I got drafted by, so I definitely did take a little second today, and it was cool. It was a great park and great atmosphere. So.
You guys made this small trade with the Nationals a couple of years ago for a guy named Juan Soto. Are you at all surprised to see how quickly James Wood has developed into the player that he is?
No. I saw him, I think I was in rehab, and we were in there together, and I saw what he was capable of, and I'm definitely not surprised at what he's doing, and I'm just really happy how he's playing baseball right now.
You guys were elated when you got Soto in that moment, but at that time when you saw who the players get up, did you think, look out, these guys could be very special very soon? You remember thinking that at all?
I mean, just the trade itself speaks for itself. You know, they're not gonna trade Juan Soto for any guy in particular, but you know, they were smart about it, and then they got some really good players, and you know, shout out to AJ for signing them, but also trading them. But it's part of the business.